Good afternoon. Seasoned Citizens presents. Our topic today is Think Small. My guest today, I am Hallie Schenkel. My guest today is Mr. Breckenfelder. Good afternoon, Mr. Breckenfelder. Can I call you Breck?
Please do.
It makes it so much easier than that big long name. Well, Breck, I am going to ask you a few questions. You have such delightful things on this table that I want everyone out there to appreciate them as much as I do and you do. First of all, whatever gave you the idea of doing this and how long ago?
Well, I suppose when I was a youngster on the farm, I enjoyed thinking about models of farm buildings, but the real interest developed about 12 or so years ago. Betty and I were in the Los Angeles area, and we had followed some of the miniaturists' activities. And there are so many of them on the West Coast that we went to a shop that featured a lot of materials and products. And I think that's when we really got hooked on it, when we saw all the things that are available and the challenge of making some of them.
Oh, I can understand. And it just looks like that you'd enjoy every minute that you worked with them. Do you have to use special wood?
I prefer to use basswood, walnut, and primarily, and I've used some cedar.
I see.
But I prefer not to use balsa because it is so soft and not a very stable wood.
I understand.
Yeah.
Is it hard to obtain certain types of wood?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Do you just, a friend maybe suggests, I got a piece of wood, can you use it?
That's happened a number of times. One of the pieces here came from wood supplied by a friend, Harold Tim, who gave me the rough log, and I sawed it up and worked it into the cedar chest that we have here.
I see. Why don't you tell me about some of these little precious things you have there on the table?
Well, most of these are, well, in fact, all of these are scale pieces. That is, they're 1 inch equals a foot scale. And this one I just mentioned, the one with the cedar, is
It even has hinges on it and a little lock.
Hinges and the restraining chain and the hardware, yes.
Oh, that's darling.
And it started out as just a piece of a log, and I sawed it up and worked it down and assembled it.
Right, right. What's that little round table you got there and the chairs?
This is the dining room set. This is copied from a dining table that we have, and it has...
You mean you can put leaves in it?
Well, yes, you can.
Oh.
It'll expand out, and there can be a leaf added.
Oh, that's just darling.
I'll just set this in here.
All righty.
And the chairs they're made out of walnut also.
Those nice straight back chairs.
Yes, they're copied from a set of chairs we have in the house.
Looks like you have what is it? Oh, a kitchen cabinet.
Oh, yes, yes. This is a Hoosier cabinet, and this one is made out of basswood. It has the
little
drawers and
even a grinder. Isn't it hard to obtain those little things?
Flatware in the drawer, yeah. Little grinder here, and the traditional little louvered shutter or cover there, and the flour bin.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, just perfect.
Rolling pin. And
would it take very long to make one like that?
Well, I don't really keep track of time because I do this for enjoyment, and so I don't.
Right.
I don't keep track of time.
No.
But I sometimes am interested in how many pieces of wood are involved. This one has about 100 pieces of wood.
For heaven's sakes, I never realized that. Yeah, each tiny little section.
No. I think I'll leave this one set here.
Got a washstand over there?
Yes, this is a commode.
Washstand. See, I remember as a little girl, a washstand.
Well, that's fine too. And it has the And then the drawer opens. It's a,
Oh, such
and there's
minute little
a spare
things.
shaving mug, and there's the brush.
Got a razor sitting on top there?
Yeah, the razor and the brush and the mug.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
I'll put this one in here. On this side.
It makes it nice when you have a house like this where you can put a piece in, you know, and when it's finished, why, it makes a beautiful picture.
Well, we've enjoyed creating places to display miniatures in shelves and in furniture. And I think we've gone more in that direction than the regular conventional dollhouse, although we have some, but it's a little more fun to have the rooms and change the room settings
Yes, I
than
would
it
think
is
so.
to have the dollhouse as far
Sure.
as at least my preference is
Right.
concerned.
Is there another piece of furniture over there?
Oh, there's a little 3-drawer walnut chest. This is copied
Oh.
from a chest that we have.
Mm-hmm. How about this piece here? What is this?
This is what we call a pie safe, and it is used for pies and that sort of
It's
thing.
got little tin in there. It's perforated or something. Isn't
Yes,
it like
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Oh.
These are little perforated panels that I drilled about 50 or so holes for each of the panels, and
Oh.
there are the 12 panels.
I think I've only seen about 1 or 2 of those in my lifetime, and that was at antique places.
Now, this is a copy again of a Hoosier or a pie safe that we have.
I see we have a grandfather clock.
Yes, yes. This one is a scale grandfather's clock. It would be about 7 feet tall, and it's made out of walnut, and it's fairly complete in its features. It has the door that opens.
What do you use for the clock itself?
It's a wrist watch that I've adapted and put in here, and you can take this off so I can get out to wind the watch.
For heaven's sakes. That sure takes a lot of planning, doesn't it?
Yes, this particular one I don't even have the pattern for it. I just built it as I went along,
Mm-hmm.
and it is complete with the pendulum and the weights inside.
Oh, you just never dream. When you go past a house that's being shown, you look at those things, but you don't dream that they're as unique as they are, really.
And the finials are, I turned those from brass stock on a metal turning lathe.
Right. You have to use special tools, don't you, for your work?
Some of these are, yes. Some are special tools, tending to be the tools that are rather small and pretty sharp tools.
Mm-hmm. Is that one of them down there?
Well, this is an unusual, in addition to the usual complement of lathes and drills and drill presses and so on. This is a tool that I made from a pattern that I found, and it's a conventional Dremel tool with a saw blade, and then I built the carriage that moves across so that you can use it as a cut-off saw. And if you want to cut an angle, you can miter by moving across. And it's nice for very thin cuts. You have a very fine blade, and
I see.
some of the bigger
Sure.
miniature saws are a little bit more cumbersome. And
I imagine you have to use pretty fine tools for your work, don't
some
you?
of these, yes, that's true.
What about this over in the corner? I like this little stand. Is it a roadside stand?
Yeah,
or
I call it the
something?
island market. It's to represent one person's view of a roadside or market on the island here in Muscatine. And so you take liberties, of course, with what you see. I used old wood, and the roof is rusty, galvanized rusty a bit, and which you may find in an island market. And of course take the liberty of having a teddy bear for the proprietor, which is
That's right.
a part of my wife's enjoyment. And
I just going to say, I believe your wife makes teddy bears, doesn't
yes,
she?
well, she makes some, and she has quite a number of them that she enjoys, displays them, and we have a number of them around the house. This one right here is one that she made. It's one of the larger ones that she made. She has several that are smaller. This one is pretty well articulated, and he's
Got a name?
no, I don't think I know the name on that one. A number
I
of
just
hers
wondered
do,
if it had a name.
but no, I don't know the name.
I bet she's got hers named.
A number of them have. I've even helped her name a few of them, including a puppet teddy bear, which I call Beauregard.
Oh, boy. Does your wife participate in helping you with the
Yes.
furniture and such?
She has made some of the vegetables. A number of these vegetables we did not make, but she has made some of them out of a fimo. It's a kind of a material that you can mold and
I see.
bake it a little bit so it'll harden, and then you can paint and finish it.
I see you've got watermelons there, and they just certainly look authentic. They look like they're
Those, yes,
painted?
those are an effort to represent the Muscatine watermelon. I made some of those and painted some, and others of those, the bigger ones, I turned all of them, and our daughter does some painting of watermelons in craft activities. So they're done by hand.
just wonderful. Oh, we've left one in the middle of the table there, a piano.
Oh, yes. Now this is a player piano that is copied from a reproducer player piano that we have, and it's an effort to make it fairly authentic, including the 88 strings in the piano.
In the piano? 88 strings, really?
Yes.
I gotta see that.
Well, it's
Oh, Breck, I never would have believed that. Oh, isn't that a lot of work?
they happen to be
Oh,
cloth strings
heaven's
instead of metal,
sakes.
but that's
Sure.
the representation that you try to achieve in a miniature.
You have children. Do they participate with you too?
To some degree, not much in the miniatures, but our daughter does enjoy painting small craft type items.
Right.
And,
Let's continue on that piano.
oh, okay. Well, it has the working features of a piano in that the front closes and the fall board closes down over, so that it closes up, and the pedals will move up in also, and the door close after they're up inside.
Oh,
So
goodness sakes.
let me see if I can get this open.
Look, but no
again.
touch.
Yeah, it's a little. There we go. We'll open it back up again.
But almost plays, don't it, Breck?
Yeah, it sort of does. In fact, if I'll give you a demonstration.
Well, good.
Thought I'd pick a number you might remember.
Well, that's just wonderful, though. Oh, that's a nice one. I do remember. Oh, that is so cute. You can get up during the night and listen to your piano.
Yeah, we recorded Christmas carols from our player piano that we have, and then play it back through the little speaker that's incorporated in this piano.
I'm convinced now. I'm convinced that it plays.
It plays. I thought you would. The bench here is complete with the usual little stops that you need to keep the seat of the bench
Oh, yes.
on an angle.
Yes, uh-huh.
And so try to make it authentic as
Well,
can be.
you really do. I don't know how there'd be any part left out because you have them all together.
Even the three pedals for
Yes.
the sustainer and soft pedal.
You ever take your miniatures to affairs?
Yes, but not for display in the same way. We've taken them to exchange viewing of miniatures with other people at shows. We go to the National Association of Miniature Enthusiasts annual house party, for
I was going to
example.
say they hold conventions, don't you, in different
Yes.
states?
Yes, they do. Every year they have what they call their annual house party, and it's attended by crafts people and miniature enthusiasts from all over the country. And they bring their displays and look at each other's work products.
Right,
And but then there are showrooms where the professionals
Where is
display.
some that you have attended?
Oh, we've attended in Cleveland and at Disneyland. They had a convention there. Seattle, and
You meet a lot of friends that way.
yes, yes. It's an interesting thing to see about as many as 1,200 enthusiasts come together.
Sakes.
And,
Didn't you have this display of your little island stand over to the church?
yes,
Lutheran Church?
each year near Christmas time, Zion puts on what is called a carousel, and
Yes.
and the members bring some craft items
Right.
that they have made. They're not for sale. They just bring them to display and let
Well,
the
I
public see
missed
them.
yours while I was over there. I'd walk past, see, and I was talking to somebody, and finally she said, "Did you see that little stand?" And I said, "Oh, no, that must be Mr. Breckenfelder's." She says, "That's the name. It's in the front."
Yeah, it's fun to do that and participate in the activities of other people who enjoy various kinds of craft work, like embroidery or cross-stitch
Right.
and other woodwork.
You have another item that I'm very anxious to see. That's your church.
Oh, okay. Well,
That is simply beautiful.
it's a scale model of Zion Lutheran. It was built in commemoration of the 100th anniversary of the founding of the church, and it was finished. It's been nearly 2 years ago now. And it's scale 1 inch equals 10 feet in this case. So it.
Look at those little windows in there. My goodness gracious.
Now they are painted on a plastic material and put in place during the construction, and it's built so that it can be, the roof can come off, and
Then
and
you
I
can
have-
add parts into it if you want to later.
I can continue building as I wish. I have not put pews or altar furnishings in yet. At the moment, I have an assembly in here to provide lighting
Right.
where you have it displayed at home, and in low-level lighting in a room, you get a nice effect with the batteries and lighting in it.
It's just perfect, really and truly. I don't think I've ever seen anything that was more perfect than that. I have attended several places where people had doll houses, with their little miniatures in them. But I don't believe they were quite as small as yours.
Well, yeah. Now this one is not what we call scale in the miniature sense, but it is a true to scale representation, of course.
Well, Breck, is there something you'd like to add to this story that we're telling today that would be of interest to those people out there?
Well, I don't think I have anything special, excepting miniature work is fun. And for those who enjoy working with their hands, it's a very rewarding activity. And for one thing, the problems are all small.
Right, right.
And that's nice to have.
Did
And
you ever get out of bed and work on your material to ease the mind, more or less?
Not so much out of bed in the night, but I do stay up late now and again. This particular piece, I cut it out as I was doing some traveling for the company. In fact, most of that was cut out while I was in a motel in Alaska. It was like 10 o'clock to midnight.
Well, for heaven's sakes.
It takes very few pieces to take along with, not much space required, and it's good relaxation. Better than watching TV at times.
Oh, yes. It's like a woman with her crochet and her knitting or whatever it is. I've heard many of them say they got up at night and they couldn't sleep, so they would do a little bit of knitting or something. But this is certainly, in fact, I never thought that I would even have a show like this, and thanks to our friend Ralph, why he mentioned your name and said something about you making these little miniatures. And
I enjoy very much.
It's certainly been an enjoyable treat for me, and I'm sure that anybody that has seen these things can certainly appreciate them.
Well, it's a hobby I recommend.
Right, I should say so. Everything has gone just about the way it should. I don't think I've missed anything. I've tried to. We've got everything in our house?
I think so. Pretty much as we have room for.
Oh, the little crates. Did we miss the little crates in front there?
Well, there are a number of them that contain various island products. And the wagon, incidentally, is an item that I made, too.
We spoke about your wife making the bears, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Is she going to have a show in the future?
She doesn't really have shows, but she gives little presentations on teddy bears and has been doing a lot of that.
She had a nice picture in the paper, I noticed here just recently.
Yes, she has a number of teddy bears that are rather special, and she likes to tell the story about them, and it's a
And now she'll be able to see you on television, too, you know.
But really, she should be here, too, because she had a part of this.
Well, it has been very nice. I've certainly enjoyed working with you, Mr. Breckenfelder.
Just Breck,
and,
but I appreciate Hallie. Very, very
I hope that the general public has a chance to see this, because it has been worthwhile, and we'd like to say thanks to the crew for the good work that they always do, and I want to thank you, too, for coming.
It's my pleasure.
And I hope you have a Merry Christmas.
Merry
and let's
Christmas.
say Merry Christmas to those out there, too.